Ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Welcome to the Sports Wrap, everybody. George Ringer. May 18th it is. We're past the halfway point.
We're past the quarter of the baseball season.
I never thought about it that way. 40 games is about the quarter way mark, 40 and a half.
40 and a half.
To be official. And we're past that. You're right.
Yeah.
That's hard to fathom, but it now starts in March, so
it flies by. It really does.
So is that where we're going to start our conversations with the Twins?
We can start with the Twins if you want.
I don't want to get upset right off the bat, but here's I'll put it this way: the Twins went and played maybe the best team in baseball. Possibly, I mean, Tampa Bay arguably is the best team right now, but they're playing out of their skulls, so I don't know if they can sustain that. But for the long haul, the LA Dodgers are one of the best teams in Major League Baseball. Let's put them in the top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
And the Twins probably, in theory, could have swept. I mean, legitimately could have swept.
They went 12 innings the first game, and and actually, I'm not sure just what particular umpire call that they were talking about, but they thought that it was inconsistent calling, and they thought that in the third game too. I don't know. Maybe Dodger Stadium brings a home field advantage.
I think it does.
It does, and like you say, they're a championship caliber team, and you're going to give the doubt to the star.
My thing about what the Twins did was that they got almost all of their starters chased early. And one of the things that the Dodgers do best is have starting pitching, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Clayton Kershaw threw only 4 innings.
No,
he threw 86 or 88 pitches in 4 innings the other night. And you're kind of like, it was absolutely perfect. And that was the game they won. They lose in 12 innings, like you said, on a walk-off walk from Lopez in the 12th inning, 9-8, after they had tied it in the 8th and 9th innings, if I remember correctly. And then they actually took the lead and left the bases had the bases loaded in the 10th inning and only scored 1 run. And then, of course, yesterday, Wednesday, they're up 3-2, and then Emilio Pagan struck. Not the good Emilio either, the bad Emilio. The bad, very bad Emilio.
You mean the one that threw the pitch down the middle?
Yeah, well, and of course, Rocco talked about the fact that there were some 50-50 balls that could have been balls, could have been strikes, and of course they went against the Twins. I understand as a pitcher you've got to do that, but he walked in the tying run, which just kind of kept,
No, the full strength of this baseball team was going to be around its starting pitching staff.
It is.
They always knew that the bullpen was going to be fairly strong. They needed some people to garnish some hits, and it's just like it always amazes me that the starting lineup for the Twins is going to be different in a month from now.
And
it's just
and
like,
now the injuries.
And they're shuffling these people in and out, but you'll get to know what's going on over at St. Paul and some of these other places.
Nick Gordon is going on the IL with a broken shin. Hit himself with a ball, I believe, and Gallo did the same thing, but will not be. Did not break a bone. He's got a good contusion, and Polanco's got a pulled hamstring. But we do know that Royce Lewis is right around the corner because he hit a 3-run bomb at AAA, and after did a couple of games in Wichita and AA. So if the Twins need an outfielder, I think I know who's coming.
And I don't think they're going to put Buxton out there.
They're not.
No,
they're not going to.
I mean, they're getting pretty good hits from him right now. Face it, he's the designated hitter, and that's the name of that tune.
Yep.
So they're going to have to find another center fielder.
And I think Michael A. Taylor is our center fielder. I think Royce is going to end up in left or right. And him and Kirilov, who can play second base, or first base, excuse me, and Gallo.
How
and
long is Max out for?
Is he the odd man out? And I'm serious about this.
I don't know.
I don't know either, because there are some decisions to be made here. And of course, Larnach could end up back down in AAA. Obviously, Gallo is not going to go down there. Michael A. Taylor's not going down.
No.
So does Royce Lewis come up and play some third base? I mean, Jose Miranda is gone, and Kyle Farmer came back, and he's doing fair to Midland.
Yeah.
So where is the spot for Royce Lewis?
Right now, defensively, I think third base as a whole, considering you have you have a Hall of Fame quality person playing shortstop and a pretty good second baseman. So
Too bad he can't get some bigger hits, but
Yeah.
he's working on it,
He's-
folks. I'm trying to be patient with Mr. Correa.
he is going to have a hitting streak, and we'll all say, "See, I told you." I hope.
Patience is a virtue.
I also heard that, but I know that you didn't get a whole lot of it. So
I did not get a whole lot of patience in the line that I was in when I was garnering my attributes.
Yeah.
I like to eat, but the patience I didn't get a lot of.
anyway,
I do want to talk about, because we talked about it this morning, but I want to talk about the Yankee controversy, the cheating scandals with the Yankees. Where are you at? Did Judge cheat?
no, he didn't cheat. He didn't have to cheat. I mean, there might have been some play going on, but if he's trying to catch a signal that's going from the dugout to first base, I mean, he's turning, looking. I saw the film. There's no denying he was looking for something, and
he said that somebody on his team was chirping the umpire, and he did get thrown out of the game.
Yeah.
Almost immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
So. I'm like I said this morning, I'm willing to give Aaron Judge the benefit of the doubt.
Hey Tim, he hit 62 home runs last year.
In a little Cracker Jack box of a stadium, he hit 60.
Yeah, so he hits, and then he cracked that one for 462 feet. Hey, to see that alone, that's quite a pull.
Yeah. So, and then he hit a home run on Tuesday night as well, just to back it up and everything else. But we do know that Domingo Germán is a cheater. We do know that from the Yankees, and of course, if you're familiar, you might recall when the Twins played at Yankee Stadium way back in April during about the 8th pull of the season. Domingo came out of the dugout, or went into the dugout, and he got told to clean his hands. He came back out, and they deemed that his hand was even stickier. And then decided that there was maybe a language barrier because he doesn't speak English well enough, and so maybe he didn't understand what was being said. So they gave him the benefit of the doubt. Well, there was no benefit of the doubt when the same crew caught him the other night in Toronto, and he is suspended for 10 games. And I just,
Yeah, there's a language difference, all right.
There's a language.
It's these guys all know about sticky substance.
Yes, they do.
All know about, it used to be, I one time read a story about Yogi Berra, and he says, I would take the ball that Whitey Ford was throwing, and I catch it, and I reach back on my shin pads and just slip it up, and I would just put an ever so slight cut in that ball and flip it back to Whitey Ford. And he says, you couldn't believe what Whitey Ford could do with that little cut on the baseball. And he threw a lot of screwballs and curveballs and sliders and all kinds of stuff. But Yogi.
So even Yogi cheated?
Yes.
Oh, I'm going home, everybody.
Yeah.
Come on. I just thought he said crazy things. He was a cheater.
Well, he never said crazy things, but the one story I do like is it was during spring training, and he showed up at the stadium in a white suit and Panama hat and just a completely white suit, and a woman said to him, "Wow, you look really cool in that suit, Yogi." And Yogi turned to her and he says, "Thanks, you don't look so hot yourself."
Yogi.
I can't make that one up.
Good old Yogi.
Yeah.
What else? Our good friend Wyatt Ulrich got his season started this past week.
Yeah, I sent him a note the other day on Facebook, and I says I really enjoy watching you scatter hits, and actually as a ball player, I think that's the most difficult thing of hitting that there is hit them where they ain't.
Yeah.
And he's very good at that.
I was listening to the game. Was that Tuesday night? Must have been Tuesday night on my way home from Deer River, and the score was 5-0 or 5-1, 5-0 I think it was in the 8th inning, I think it was, and Wyatt's at the plate with 2 strikes on him. I don't remember how many balls. It didn't matter, but the third baseman was playing the bunt, a former teammate.
Okay, because they knew.
So they knew he knew what Wyatt could do, and even with 2 strikes in a 5-0 game, he's going, Wyatt might bunt this son of a gun, so we better be ready to go. So I I think you and I, well, you watch the games, right?
Oh, I tried to.
Does Tanner Hoops do the play-by-play on the games?
He does, yeah.
when they're home games?
Yeah.
Anyway, I listen to Tanner on the radio because I got other things going on, and I like to listen. There's something about listening to baseball games rather than watching a baseball game on TV that causes, I don't know, that brings me back to my childhood.
Also, you're in the business, and I mean,
That's true.
And you know, when you take a look at all these great, I have a guy. His name is Mick Fisher that I follow very close, and he does 10-year-old hockey. And he's fantastic, and his son is the goaltender. But Mick, he doesn't let that slow him down. He is a fantastic play-by-play and does his own color besides. He's doesn't even know what he's doing. He's an electrician and during his daytime.
But he has fun.
Yeah, he
and
does.
that's what it's all about. When you put love and you've got passion for it.
I steal all kinds of things from Mick. He says he put the puck up where mother keeps the cookies. I never heard that before.
Some guy on a professional hockey game said that's where grandma keeps the cigarettes.
Oh, this is.
I wouldn't go there.
That's where grandma keeps the cookies.
That's not where we're going to go there. So. Anyway, Wide's batting .310 after Wednesday night's game. Started gangbusters, 3 for 5 and 3 for 6, and I think it was like whatever it was. So he was at 500, but went 0 for 4 with a walk last night. And hey, that's the way things go sometimes.
Oh, it does.
Sometimes you hit them where they are.
Well, that's true, and you know, and besides, like you say that third base covering on a possible bunt, it just takes a short hit, just a little bit of slap, and you're going to have to go to work because Wyatt can really get down that baseline.
He definitely can still get down that baseline. He's still got those wheel speed going.
Yeah, it's okay. You're only young once.
Anything else baseball-wise that we need to jibber-jabber about?
Well, I'm going to tell you, you know, I think the Twins are going to come on to an interesting part of the season if the next 10 or 15 games is actually pretty important to them. And it's just, you know, they have pretty much the same record as the New York Yankees, and the New York Yankees are they're one game out of last place.
Yeah.
And it's so the Twins, they have a good division in order to win this division.
Yeah.
I think they can do well. And so, you know, if they got good pitching, as long as, you know, they don't have any more Malley type injuries. No, they are fun to watch. And like I say, they had 29 runs in 3 games against the Cubs last week.
And 27 of those in 2.
And 27 of them too, yeah.
Uh-huh.
What can I say? Yeah. But that set a stadium record for runs in the 3-game series.
Yeah, they can definitely do some things. It's just they just don't seem to do it as consistently as we would all like. Yeah, Detroit is how many ever games back, but they're under 500. I think 19 and 20 or 19 and 21 or something like that. After they only had 1 hit against the Pittsburgh Pirates yesterday. So yeah, the Twins are in the right division. I mean, think about this. Theoretically, if they would play 500 ball from here, they should take care of business.
They really should. And
well, you know that Cleveland is going to get hotter.
Yes.
Possibly as the temperatures rise.
Yeah.
You got to be worried. I'm still worried about the Chicago White Sox and what they could do.
Yeah.
And Detroit's kind of scary. You just don't. They're somewhat inconsistent, and that's probably why teams like that, like Baltimore last year, got a hot start and then faltered down the stretch when the pressure got on, and they.
Well, tell me about this Los Angeles Angels pitching phenom.
Shohei Ohtani?
What did he do?
Well, he got on base 5 times the other night, and they thought that was a big deal because he pitches every 5th. He was pitching in the game and got on base 5 times, which it's a little different animal. When you are pitching and still get on base.
You know, I think the last person that did it was like 1916 in Boston, and I'm not sure who the guy was, but he might have been Babe Ruth.
Might have been. Yeah, I think they said 1964. Some pitcher from Cleveland or somebody had gotten on base 5 times as a pitcher. That's what I remember reading somewhere along the way. But wouldn't be surprising if Ruth also was in that department. But I didn't look to see when Shohei is up against the Twins. Is it Sunday?
I think maybe it is.
Here, I'm gonna do this, folks, because we need to know. When's the next time Shohei Ohtani pitches? Oh, let's see. See if I can get this quickly enough. When's the last time he pitched? Well, that does us no good. When does Shohei Ohtani pitch again?
Well, I'll tell you, he is as entertaining a baseball player as I've seen in a long time, and I've heard people say he shouldn't be pitching, and other people say he shouldn't be hitting, and he's not only doing both, he's doing both at a superlative level. It's, how do you say, I'm keeping him out of the lineup except for every 3 to 4 days.
Let's see, that's today, not tomorrow. Joe Ryan against Reed Detmers. Louis Varland versus Patrick Sandoval. And on Sunday, Pablo Lopez versus Shohei Ohtani.
I, folks, will be watching.
3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, yeah, I'll be watching that.
That's marquee matchup. Now, the big thing with Pablo Lopez, the starter for the Twins, who just signed the $73 million contract, is when he throws in the first inning, usually that's all he gives up. But he's been having a really bad time in the first inning.
Oh,
so we'll see what he does on Sunday. If he has a great first inning, then off we go.
No, and I've seen him give up 3 runs. And you say, "Oh my Lord, he's going to just be getting," and all of a sudden it's in the 5th inning, and he hasn't given up anymore, and they're up 4-3. So it's
yeah. Let's get that first inning. It sounds like Brad Radke all over again, because I think if I remember right, Brad Radke used to be the same thing. Bad first inning, and then after that, lights out.
Oh boy, was he fun to watch!
He was fun to watch. Number 22, right, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go basketball. Let's
go basketball.
Before we leave baseball, should we talk softball a little bit?
Let's talk softball.
Look at that! Look how I was excited.
The Gophers they're in the big tournament.
Yeah.
And they got this pitcher that can throw all day and half the night, and it's
Autumn Pease is a nice pitcher.
Yeah, and so I don't know how far they can push this. I know there's some fantastic women's softball teams out there, but they're in it, and I think they got a shot.
Yeah, they're out in Seattle, Washington. Yeah. The University of Washington is the number 7 overall seed. That's the bracket that the Gophers are in, and whether they're the number 2 or number 3, it really doesn't matter. I think they're the 2, and that they would be the home team on Friday at 5:30. And of course, I'm doing a softball game at that time, so I'm not going to get to watch it, which bums me out a little bit. But he's talking about getting to watch the Twins. The Gophers could be playing at that time on Sunday for a chance to get to the Super Regional.
Since we've been watching hockey on the weekend, the other day we had a television, 2 computers, and this was downstairs. This is my wife's showing, and she says it's hard watching 2 hockey games at the same time. I get confused.
Yeah, it is. It takes work.
It takes work. You really have to apply yourself.
You do to kind of keep up with all of it. Yes. So anyway, the Gopher softball playing in Seattle. If they came out of the regional, it would be a huge story. I mean, they're a good team. Don't get me wrong, but to take down Washington,
well, they've had such a great season against superlative competition. I mean, Big Ten right now is as good as SEC or Oklahoma and Texas and all the rest of those things. Isn't Oklahoma, are they defending?
Oklahoma's the defending champion, the number 1 overall seed. I think they're on like a 43-game winning streak or some freaking thing like that. They're out of their minds.
They're out of their minds. But I want to bring up one more thing about the Gophers. This is Keon Benjamin.
Yeah! You want to talk a little track and field?
Let's talk a little track and field.
Hey, before we go to those other random sports, yeah.
And so Keon Benjamin is from Trinidad, Tobago.
Yeah, in Tobago,
and so they went down and found him in 2018. He did not know where Minnesota was.
I read that.
And they were telling him about the school and Minneapolis and how this is great. And then they brought up the other thing. What's the other thing? Sometimes it gets cold. And so when he came up here in 2018, he has won 2 out of the last 3 Big Ten 100-meter championships, and he's a key on one of the relay teams as well.
The 4x100 won the Big Ten championship last week.
And they won it,
in the school record, and the 4th best time ever posted by a Big Ten team.
Yes.
Holy smokes! That's cooking.
These are national caliber sprinters.
And the scary part about that is they probably will place like 4th or 5th at the nationals with that kind of time, because everybody's got. Well, I shouldn't say everybody, but these other.
On the Big Ten, they only took second, and they had a very, very fine team at all levels. They got weights and
they've
run, And I remember I read about Benjamin every spring about this time, and I keep on thinking, geez, he's pretty good. And then he won one, and now there's nothing harder to do than repeat that. And there he goes ahead and repeats that. I just like, hey, right here in Minnesota, I just think that's cool. We're not generally known for our track and stuff, but one time I saw Ricky Upchurch win the Big Ten 100-meter championship and then walk across the street and play in the spring football game and ran for 4 or 5 touchdowns. People were screaming, "Run, Ricky, run!" And it's just like, you see that, and so it's happened before, but Keon Benjamin, he's exceptional.
I believe that the regional track meet, I think in California, I read, is next week.
I think
and
so.
then they get a
too,
week off in between, and then they got the nationals, NCAA's in like June
Well, and,
9th, 10th, 11th area.
And the other thing, you get guys like Benjamin here from the Caribbean islands. They come to Minnesota. Now, that's one of the reasons I think just a perfect example why you want to have collegiate sports, because it draws these people that would otherwise not know where Minnesota was, never even heard of it.
You mean like South African baseball players?
Like South African baseball players, and you draw these, and of course, and to Josh Koenig, he's had ball players from all over the place.
Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic,
Mexico, all kinds of areas from the south, way up here to the Canadian border. It's kind of amazing, but hey, I got to tip my hat to this track crew. They're all right.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see how they do. The women had a couple that qualified, did very well at the Big Tens as well. So Gopher outdoor track and field is alive and well in Minnesota.
It is. It is indeed.
Someday I'll get to the Big Ten championship. I got to find a job where I can just get a time off like that at this time of the year.
Okay, we just got to talk about that NBA though. I think we're heading that
we were going to go basketball.
And I just, when it boils down to this level, you take a look and you just say, okay, when LA was playing Golden State, Curry was playing, and they had the 3 superstars playing, and then they go into this Jokic. Well, I tell you, he is such a wall, and so strong, and handles the ball so well. And I'm not sure that how good of a natural three-pointer he is, but he goes to the hoop. You don't want to get in the way. He's huge and big and strong.
Handles the ball well. Maybe isn't as fleet of foot as some, but it doesn't seem to matter.
It doesn't seem to matter. And I mean, they said the same thing about Charles Barkley. Well, he can't run, he can't jump, he can't even grip the basketball. Nah, but he sure can play buckets, can't he? And so, you see this, and unless they find a way of stopping this guy, this profound
what did he
LA
have
Lakers,
34, 21, and 14, was it?
Yeah.
I mean,
when you start getting rebounds like that, and points, you're hard to beat.
You always talk about Oscar Robertson, right?
Yes.
Jokic has now tied Oscar Robertson for the most triple doubles in a playoff year.
And
so we know how you feel about Oscar, and how a lot of people feel about Oscar as being one of the top 10 players ever. Yeah. Here's my feelings about the Western Conference Finals in the NBA. Denver had its bad stretch in the season.
Yeah.
In like late February, early March, where it looked like maybe they were faltering. The pressure was getting to them, whatever. The Timberwolves got to play them in the first round. And the Timberwolves lost in 5 games, but they had a chance in a bunch of those games. And I thought, you know what, Denver doesn't have it. And I told you before the playoffs started that I wanted to see the Timberwolves get Memphis, And of course, the LA Lakers got Memphis and defeated Memphis fairly simply. And then I got to give LA credit. I didn't think they had a chance against Golden State. I still can't believe they
Well,
won.
the next game is really important, and I'll tell you at the other end, as long as we're kicking this around, everybody wants the Lakers Celtics because we live in the past.
I don't want the Lakers.
Anyway, Miami Heat went up yesterday and kind of just hammered old Celtics, took a game away from them in Boston. Now you have to scramble up a few more steps when you win your first game on that home court. Now all of a sudden the game has changed. You lose the next one, you're in trouble because you're going back down there. And so the next game is, and it's not saying they can't do it, but that first game is so important, and Miami played so well. Jimmy Butler is fantastic.
See, I'm gonna play the unfair game with you.
Yeah.
Okay? We all know about Nikola Jokic.
We do.
We know about Murray from Denver, right?
We do.
Can you name a third player from the Denver Nuggets?
No.
I can't.
No.
Okay, you know about Jimmy Butler from Miami.
I do.
And we know about maybe Tyler Hero
He's another one. Yeah.
and Bam Adebayo. Those are the only three Miami players I can name. I can't even tell you who starts for these teams. Yet here they are with a chance, talking about them playing for a chance
Well,
for
and
the
you can do,
NBA.
and you can do the same way with Boston. But you know when you have Jason Tatum, you know, and he's capable of putting up so many points. You just say you don't even need a surrounding team with him, but he does. He does have to have that, and he got shut down. He didn't take, like you say, didn't take a shot.
Did not take a shot in the fourth quarter of last night's game, the loss to Miami. How can your best player not take? I don't care if he's even double teamed. I don't care if he's triple teamed.
Throw it up.
You got to throw it up, baby. You got to make something happen if you want to be considered a superstar. And he scored 51 points in Game 7 against Philadelphia. That's an all-time NBA record for a Game 7. But I think, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong, the Celtics won that Game 7 and then had to go right in and play Miami, who had rested a little bit, and I think that was a big reason. I'm not worried. I'll be honest with you. I'm not worried about Boston losing this series.
No, they still have 4 games to go through before there's any determination. So
Boston, I think, wins Game 2 and wins big. And when I say big, I mean like by 20 points. And then they go to Miami, they get 1, and then they'll probably have to go 6 to win it all. But that's what I see with the Celtics in Miami.
Do you see LA pulling anything out of the fire with Denver?
It'll go 5 games because the NBA wants it to go 5 games. The referees will make sure that happens.
Referees, umpires too. Yeah,
I'm just saying. I don't want to be negative about that, but
no.
They know that it's important. The referees get paid a lot of money to keep doing these games as well.
They certainly
so they
do.
want the series to go along as well too. So don't tell me that doesn't play a
I would
part.
say it won't be very, very long when they have an automated umpire behind the plate.
Yeah.
And they will get the call and send the signal to somebody, and they'll put it up on the board, and and that's kind of the way.
They'll be right in the stadium. They'll hear it.
I mean, when I take a look at these patterns, I sometimes see a ball just clip the corner. The next pitch, and that's a strike. The next pitch just clips the corner. That's a ball.
It's a fine line. That umpire's still going to be standing there. They'll have something in their ear, and they'll be whatever they're going to do. So
it'll be good.
It'll work. I don't know how that will work in the other sports, however.
Oh, I don't know. Football's hard.
Football's hard.
Football's hard.
Let's talk hockey for a bit.
Let's do that.
We got the Eastern Conference Finals tonight. Florida against the Carolina Hurricanes. Hurricanes are the home team. Florida, we just talked about Miami. They're the number 8 seed out of the East. They're in the finals. Florida Panthers, number 8 seed in the East, and they're in the finals.
No, but I watched.
So Florida sold its soul to the devil, and
got all these Canadians down there in the wintertime, so they got to have hockey. But it's one of those things where I watched the Panthers play, and they were very, very good, and they skated well, and they beat Boston, and it's kind of like. And then they went over and took care of business with Toronto. I mean, these guys can skate. They go hard. They got a couple of superstars on there, and and like I say, I think that they're. Well, I think they're going to go into the finals.
I think Florida makes it as well. 7 games. It's got to go 7.
It probably will. On the other end, and I know we'll disagree on this one, but I'm going to go with Dallas. I kind of like the way they control the Wild.
You like the way that they fake and fall all over themselves like a bunch of soccer players?
Well, whatever it is, they're in the semifinals right now, and they'll do anything. I know these guys. They're capable of doing anything to get into those finals.
Yeah.
They will chew pucks to do this, and
I get it. I get it. I do. I don't like it.
No, I don't.
But I get it. Yeah. So I'm going with Vegas on the other side. Just maybe because the hate for Dallas, I guess, is so strong or whatever. And I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them in the finals. I wish they had a loss. I think Seattle had a chance, obviously, against the Kraken. Had a chance to take the Stars down. It didn't happen that way, and so now we move on.
Just to remind everybody, the starting goalie for the Dallas Stars is what's his first name?
Jake
Ottinger, and he's his granddad's from town, and he's got all kinds of relatives around here. But he is a very, very good goalie, and we'll see how he's doing. Right now, he's holding the Stars in. I think.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. I agree. There's no doubt about. Like I said, is he standing on his head? No. Does he have to? No. But yeah, as the games get bigger, we'll see how he does.
Yeah.
You just never know. So you've got Florida and Dallas. I've got Florida and Vegas.
Yeah.
Making it to the finals. So could know in 10 days or so how that all pans out. And then in basketball, you're taking whom?
Well, I'm gonna unfortunately, and I just as soon have the Lakers when I head sick, but I'm gonna go with Jokic and the Avalanche. They just
The Nuggets.
powered them.
Yeah.
The Nuggets. They just powered them, and then I'm not quite sure, but we'll see what happens after this Boston game, and we'll see where that goes.
Boston wins it in 6. So anyway, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So what else? PGA Championship is this weekend. Golf, second major of the year.
Yes. Where's that at?
That is in Rochester, New York.
Oh yeah.
At Oak Hills, and so we'll see. I have not watched. I don't know nothing about nothing. It's almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I have no idea what anybody has shot from who teed off, and a lot of the big stars teed off at 8 o'clock this morning. So they're in. I haven't picked up my phone. I've been working. Did you hear that, Mike? I've been working.
You hear that, Mike? He's been working.
Holy smokers! It's a busy time of the year when graduations are coming up, and National Hamburger Day, and Memorial Day, and
I don't even want to talk about it out in the air, but you and Dwayne kind of chewed up pet owners today, and whether or not we think that there are spirited
they're your
soulmates.
soulmate.
Yeah,
Soulmate is a big deal.
Well,
I'm gonna if I told my wife that my dog was my soulmate rather than her, I should be packing up and going someplace else.
Truman the Beagle was kind of my soulmate, and Sue always knew it, and she didn't care. So it was.
I don't believe that. I believe she's your soulmate. Anyway. That's just how I feel about it. But then I'm not a pet owner.
You're not a beagle.
I'm not a pet owner. I don't believe in it.
We were laughing about it.
I don't have time to bleed, and I don't have time for pets.
Yeah.
It's just truth. I can't do her. I can't find the time
anyway,
to do it right.
You guys needed something to talk about today, and that's what you come up with.
Yeah, it's not planned. I'm telling you that.
No, I understand.
Anybody who believes that when we go
down is where it's at.
Kind
of like this.
Sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes you don't.
You do. Yeah.
You want to pick a winner for the PGA?
Like I said, earlier, Scotty Scheffler is
he's a pretty safe. He's a pretty safe.
He really is, and he's in that top 10. And you know, and those guys, the top 10 is a matter of 2, 3, 4 strokes. It's just,
It's close.
you know,
One putt here,
one putt there.
one bad drive there, something like that can definitely cost you.
You know, I remember playing golf where once every 100 shots, the ball went exactly where you wanted it to go. You know,
I laugh at you. Last night, Eli and I are in the batting cage over at the high school. I'm throwing him pitches. And, you know, he's 8, see, right? So what does he know about anything? Nothing, right? I mean, come on. But anyway, he hit a couple of, and you know, if you've hit a golf ball, and you just talked about it, 1 in 100, it's like, oh my gosh, that it felt.
I'm going to do that same way forever.
It was perfect. You can feel it. And anybody who's played the game, baseball, golf, anything where you hit a ball like that, you know when it's good. So we're throwing him pitches, and he hit one, and it was perfect. I mean, it sounded great, and he's like, oh my gosh, that was perfect. And I'm like, at 8, he knows that it was perfect.
Because he swung, hit the ball, and he couldn't feel a thing.
That's exactly what he said. He said, I couldn't feel it.
I couldn't feel
I
it.
couldn't feel it. And I'm just like, then you hit it right where it was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling.
If you want to watch...
If people wonder why we love sports,
what can I say? Me and Keon Benjamin, we have the secret.
there you go. I'm going with Johnny Rahm. I know I went with him with the Masters. I'm going with Johnny Rahm
You know,
to
he's
go back to back.
He is really, really good golfer, and you know, I'll tell you about watching him. He seems to be enjoying himself out there. I mean, he's smiling. He's just like, you know, some of those guys are pretty.
He's rich. Why not? He's playing a game to.
Yeah.
Anyway, as Mike said, let's hope that no LIVers win. No LIVers.
No LIVers. I watched an LIV event for about 15 minutes, and I was trying to get crowd size, and there were no people there, and you know, and there everybody was that you could see was lining the fairway, and they were like 2, 3 deep. It's just like,
I was flipping through the channels last Sunday.
Yeah.
Click, 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 click. I was trying to get to channel 3 to CBS, and I went one too far.
you got
And
LIV.
it came up LIV, and I couldn't hit the button fast enough to get out there. I'm like, oh my God.
Somebody's gonna
see me watching it after I said I would never watch it.
LIV, and they don't sponsor the United States Football League too, do they?
Right.
No.
So, okay, I had to send that text. Okay, what else we got left?
Baseball,
We
basketball,
kinda
hockey. I think we're taking care of
How
stuff.
about the Preakness Stakes? Do we care?
Well, you know, I tell you, my son-in-law will call me on Saturday and he says, okay, you want to make a bet because he's hooked up on the computer, and I'm going to take a look at that. And I like it when there's only 8 horses running, less chance of anybody getting hurt. And you know, and you see this, but there were 7 horses that were killed at
Kentucky, at Churchill Downs.
Churchill Downs, and when you see that, you just think, you know, I know that these animals are bred for this and all like that, but it seems to me that we could be taking a little bit better care of them. And so I will be watching. I will probably even make a bet.
The longest shot, when I looked at the odds this morning, was a 30-1.
Well, that was about the same way it was at the Kentucky Derby.
At the Kentucky Derby, there was no 80-1s.
No, and that 80-1 thing, I love that 80-1. What's $10? You know,
What's $10?
What's $10?
Got a chance to win 800? Come on!
You know, it's a chance to win 800.
Or 100 to win 8. Yeah, anyway. So that'll go off about 6 p.m. On Saturday night. So hopefully be able to fit that into my schedule. Again, Mage, the Kentucky Derby winner, is the favorite at 8-5. So there you go. So,
No, and so, but it's really kind of funny. She said, well, you get 2, if you pick 2 out of the 3, you get this much. And that's the trifecta. Oh yeah, that's where you pick the 3 horses and the places. Oh, that's why the trifecta is huge.
that's why it's huge. That's right.
Yeah, so I don't know what the trifecta was worth on that, but somewhat
About a $2 bet,
Yeah, it was like $48,000 or something.
Not too shabby if you nail it for $2.
No.
Can't go wrong.
No.
I do want to mention that next week, playoffs start for spring sports. Softball starts on Tuesday. Track goes off on Thursday with their subsection meet. The following week, golf, baseball, and the track sections all take place.
Where's track section at this year?
Down at UMD on Thursday, the 1st of June. I feel it's likely that I'll be there. Unless I'm doing a baseball game on the radio, then I'll try to make both of them work. But yeah, it's always an exciting day at the section track meet. And the Bronco girls took second place at the Iron Range Conference meet. I want to say the last time the Bronco girls won the IRC was 2013, and I'm going off the top of my head. So for the girls to do that would have been big. And remember, Virginia and Evelyn Gilbert and Rockridge now together, so that's a pretty big school. So the Bronco girls only lost by 4 points. So kudos to them, and great opportunity.
Well, I'm going to give just a little bit of shout out because there's an IRC junior high meet going on.
Just going to start right about now.
Right about now, and my good friend Dale Johnson is he's volunteer weight coach, and for 13 years he was the IRC shot put champion. Held
the record,
yeah, for 13 years, and so he's having a good time. And I says, "Can you fling it out?" He says, "The doctor won't let me yet. By next year." So
I keep having my phone out here because I've been waiting for a text message saying, "Can you come here to help us get everything set up?" But we went and did that last Friday for the timing system, so I'm assuming that everything has worked out because it's 2 o'clock and they're getting ready to start racing, and I should get over
They haven't
there.
had a track meet in a couple of years.
I believe it's been since 2019.
3 years.
4 years since we've had a track meet at Falls High, because we didn't obviously have one in 2020 because of the COVID, and I know we didn't have it the last 2 years because both of them got snowed out. So
No snow today.
No snow today. 20,
Smoke.
Maybe a little smoke. A lot of smoke, folks. I don't know how bad it is where you are, but last week we were outside. Matter of fact, my cousin said, "Do you guys get kicked out of the bar?" I had to tell her, "No, we're just outside of the bar." So, Vicky, I appreciate your comment. She follows along and watches every week, and so we're back at our 0-0 spot right here, our origin.
George hasn't been kicked out of a bar in 30 years.
I heard you got punched by the bartender though yesterday.
She had a big sock'em right there. She threatened to return.
She threatened to, yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Anything else that we need to discuss before we go?
I'm not at all sure. I don't think so.
Lots of stuff going on as there always is, folks. Have a great week. We'll talk to you then.
Take care.